we'll start off today here. I've already got just a gray canvas. You can use a black canvas. You could use a white canvas. This one's just gray, but it doesn't matter because I'm about to paint my background over this. We're going to be doing a very simple flower scene, just like a still life flower, a flower painting. And with that warm, pretty color, I'm going to paint just overlapping strokes here in the middle of this canvas and work my way outward. There we go. Normally I paint flowers in oil, but honestly I like painting them in acrylic as well. I just don't do it very much. I'm gonna mist my canvas. I like that warm brown. You could use, if you like the cooler gray, you can go with something like that for your background. I just toned the canvas to kill that white because some of it, talking too fast, some of it is going to show through and I think be very pretty. Oh, I like that's just pure yellow ochre. I'm really just showing you a lot here because backgrounds are important when it comes to still life flower paintings. I'm going to leave a little movement. I'm going to leave some brush marks in it because I think that that's interesting. You may not want to do that. That's okay. And take just a little more red up in here because the red from the rose I think will be nice to tie in with some of that red in the background. Always tying our colors together so our painting feels cohesive. There you go. Now it's still a little wet up here. What I'm going to do is, I think it is. So let's go ahead and sketch out very quickly our basic shape of the flower vase, or the little jar really, or I think so, I don't know, a little vase. Let's go ahead and I'm going to freehand this. So it may be a little rough. That's okay, because we can always adjust it later. I'm going to put just a nice soft, it'll be easier with Phil's steady stick here. I'm going to go ahead and work on the bottom, getting my perspective and my little angles correct. Okay. And then as I look over at my reference image, I'm going to see the back side of this. Something like that. Do my best to just draw in the little shoulders of this vase, which really aren't all that tall because I got my flower there, so something like right here. There, and then over and then down. Listen, we can fix anything, so I'm just going to try my best to sort of get it in, and then we'll adjust it later. Make it even later. It's a very foggy glass with a lot of interesting little highlights. I'm going to take some yellow, yellow and white basically, not over mixed. I'm going to leave it marble mixed. Okay, and we've got both highlight and shadow these petals, but I'm going to go ahead and get the sunflower in first. And this is going to be roughly with the center of the flower, like so. It's not a big sunflower at all. In real life, it's about like that. 3 or 4 inches across, pretty small. There we go. And looking at my reference now, of course, again, this does not account for the shadows. I'm just going to place my brush on. The background is slightly wet for what that's worth. It doesn't seem to be wet enough really to do much here, but at least you can kind of see that. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it. Can you see this? I'm going to hold the brush way at the back. Hopefully you can see this. I'm not copying it. If I were to, there we go. If I were to trace this out, then I could copy it more, but there we go. That'll work. It's a twisted little petal there. Everything will make more sense when we shadow and highlight these. Push down, twist up. As much as you can get done in 1 or 2 strokes, the better. The less strokes, I need into my water here, the less strokes you use, the better. Really, when it comes to this. Well, interestingly enough, this is the next day. I actually stopped, I had some stuff to get done, But then I came back, now this is good and dry. What's fun about acrylic is you can easily stop and come back and it's just as if you didn't stop because it'd be dry in a couple minutes anyway. So if this was oil, it would throw everything off. But as it is, it really doesn't matter. So I'm gonna take my bright color, yellow, white, just whatever, a little red, just a nice bright warm color. And I feel like yeah, fresh eyes. I think I need a little more of a shot of light. What do you think? Well, this is not live, so you can tell me what you think, but it's not going to contribute to what I do. Here you go. We're going to paint in some background. Now, what's awesome about acrylic is the fact that it literally, you can just rub it and it kind of fades away. So I can easily, boom, paint this in after the fact. It's not a big deal. And I can restore my little petals or just paint them again, after it dries. It's very forgiving. Acrylics are just as forgiving in oils. It's just different way to go about it. If you don't know about it, then it feels like it's not. But if you know how it works and you lean into the advantages, you'll find, at least I find, it's very forgiving. So I've spent just a few minutes kind of just playing around with the background, adjusting some stuff, whatnot. But now I'm going to work, this is dry. That's why I'm misting it now. It's dry. I'm going to go ahead and paint in, just following my picture a bit, paint in some of these little highlights here. And on this side, just doesn't have to be perfect, and I need a little blue in it. Not too much blue, but just a little blue. Let me see what that does. It might be too much blue, but we're gonna try it. There we go. So this is maybe where the acrylic is not quite as strong because, in other words, not as strong, it's not as good because I'm trying to get these soft blends and it may take a little extra time in acrylic, and that's okay. You can always change to oil at any time, make it a mixed media painting, and I might do it if I want to. So far I don't want to. But let's just see how this goes. I think it might be nice to just take and let me get a little bit of water on that area. Might be nice to take a little bit of this white and just pull it down to create just a little color of this highlight on the bottom of the jar where that light is reflecting or refracting or whatever the right word is, I don't know, through that jar. Anyway. Yeah, I think it could be interesting. This is, I'm taking an artistic, I've obviously taken a lot of artistic license with this picture. It's not in any way exactly the same. Don't want it to be. Because there are some things in a picture that are not going to make a good painting. Just how it is. So there you go. Now we're going to finally bring our attention back here to the flower area. I'm going to the sunflower. It's kind of facing up at a diagonal like so. I see some green in the picture. I'll put some green in it as well. The green isn't just sap green, but I see a lot of yellow ochre in it also. Yellow ochre and sap green are pretty together. Yellow ochre and black are pretty together. You got a lot of options. You don't have to paint with one flat dead color. If you like, you can add just a little highlight, not a highlight, but a mid-tone really. And of course, we're not going to stick again to the picture exactly. We'll just try to get some details. This is a small flower close up. It's not a big old sunflower. That sunflower's 2.5, 3 inches across. 3 inches across. Maybe 3.5. I don't know. I didn't measure it. I'm sorry I didn't measure it. Next time I'll try to measure it. Oh no. We're not. Here we go. This is what I've been painting. I've been painting that jar too long. Oh dear. Here we go. Let's paint some yellow ochre and burnt umber. And we're going to do some yellow ochre and burnt umber for these stem-like things that are coming out. Just like so. Make sure that I do that right. Something like, I don't know, just something like that kind of around. Yeah, doesn't have to be perfect. So I've got a custom angle filbert, or another name for it is a dagger brush. And I'm going to create now with this some of my veins and some of the shadows. This is the mid-tone, this is the shadow, and then we'll do a highlight, then we'll do a darker shadow, then we'll probably do a lighter highlight. There, okay. I'm just painting in now some of these. You can take, because this is dry, you can take and mist it a little bit. You know, the center of the flower may not be dry, so I don't want to do that too much. Yeah, I've got a secondary flower petal in front of that one. What's great is with the acrylic, you can so easily go in and adjust like the background and whatnot if you need to. So like if I want to bring the background in and shape the flower petals with the background, man, that would be so easy to do. Again, I'm just getting the shadows, trying to get the shadows established. The lighter shadows, not necessarily the darker shadows yet. Now I have actually changed to oil, and this is officially a mixed media painting. What I'm gonna do is just because I feel like oil is gonna be easier to make the glass, and do some beautiful little accent shadows in here with purple. You could do it with acrylic. You could finish this with acrylic, but I'm gonna do it in oil. I like oil. I started painting primarily with oils, you know. I'm an oil painter more than anything else. I love acrylics, but I'm gonna finish this in oil. So I'm taking just a little bit of my white and blue and just making this a little bit more refined, a little bit more finished. I'm gonna do it with all of my lighter tone. I've got a little walnut oil in this as well, but not too much. And then I'm going to do just a little splash of highlight. Like that, just beginning to make it look hard, light, you know, like a mirror, even words. There we go. Okay. And do I want to do, just a little bit right there, maybe. Yeah, but you see these hard little glints of light that's a mistake there, make a huge difference. Boom. Yeah, you can, anything you don't like, you can take and just erase it with a baby wipe. It'll go right back down to your dry acrylic layer. Now the image that I'm using as reference does not have a water. It's clear. There's no water, it's just air. And so I'm going to make a water. I began to do it with acrylic. I'm going to strengthen this with oil and make this water down here. Now I'm working in the water, put a little oil down. This is why I wanted to change to oil, really, so I can get a softer blend a little more easily. Just creating some of these watery, not too much this way, mostly this way, actually. There we go. I'm gonna create some of that watery look. Now, I've more or less lost my stems, and that's okay, I think, because I'm gonna get them back. But until I get them back, they're going to be lost, and that's okay. Not a big deal. So I'm concentrating this way. There we go. So I'm not making a whole lot of sense. Boom, there we go. Yeah, it's just a matter of getting some water. I actually think a little more highlight on the water now that I have built up a highlight here. I think a little highlight on the surface of the water here would be good. Not much, just enough. Now mixing up a soft purple color, just a soft warm purple almost to the red side. Gotta be careful where I place my hand because a lot of this is now wet. But I want to just place on a little hint of purple. Obviously, I love doing this. Is something I always recommend. Just because it ties the whole painting together and gives you some beautiful color and life in those shadows, right? And purple and yellow are complementing colors, and so that is also a bonus, but that's not the only reason you do it. And I'm going to put some on the back of these stems and down here as well, just a faint little amount, not much, just enough to show, oh, there's a little bit down, even in those. I'm keeping it pretty subtle, and I'm not overdoing because, you know, this could be overdone pretty quickly, and then it would look kind of silly. There we go, very little, very faint, and then as I come up here, on my sunflower, this is acrylic and is dry, so there's no risk to just putting a little, this is non-toxic oil paint. If you're using something, because there are oil paints that are toxic, do not put your finger in them. Read the label before you touch your oil paint. There we go. Or make it yourself. Then you know what's in it. There we go. Just warming up a couple of these little shadow areas. Not much, just enough. If you don't like it, I've got a baby wipe right here. So you can just gently rub it right away. As long as your acrylic is dry and cured, which mine is. Now I think it would be worth right here trying to bring this plant. I've got a plant here, I've got a plant here. Maybe bring some plant texture, just a little texture in on that side. I don't want to cover the whole thing, but just, yeah, okay. But watch this. Coming from back here, we've got a little plant, and I did some of that in acrylic, and now I'm doing it in oil, just because that's what I'm using now. And I want to bring this plant distinctly in front of and then loop over this jar. Covers that edge a little bit, and it pushes that jar just back into the painting a little. There we go. Pretty subtle. I'm just going to create some leaves, you know, using this brush. They're pretty dark, but just a little smattering of you know, some leaves like so. Just cover, yeah, just covers that edge a little. If you don't like that, you don't have to put it in. I think I like it. It's pretty, I guess I can always go back to my acrylic. I was going to say, pretty hard to change it. Always go back to my acrylic, I guess. But yeah, I'm just going to put in now a few of these little highlights, not too many, but enough that shows there's some light splashing down here. Kind of under mixing my paint so that I get a lot of these marbled variations within, oops, overdoing it there, within my leaves. There we go. And then I'll end with purple on my leaves. Kind of a brownish. There we go, more of a purple. I'll end with that on my leaves. Just create a little, yeah, difference. It's too bright, darken it up. Anyway, I'll play around till I get it the way I want it. All right, that wraps things up for today. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing it. Don't forget to check out our website, our instructional oil painting and acrylic painting lessons available on the website, and also Patreon. Thanks for watching. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Remember to subscribe if you're not already, and click the like button. That helps me out a lot. Stick around, watch a couple more videos, and stay inspired.